classic ended, the kid isn't mine. I just don't understand. In the background, she cheated 3 times, 2 physical and 1 emotional. She admitted it and stopped the extra relationship after a while. We decided to fully commit. On a side note, I moved here mostly because I was going through a divorce or separation and I seemed to be having problems coping. Some days are effortless, while others are a great struggle. The most difficult days feel like the world is conspiring against me. Every song, every word, every show, every sign, and every person reminds me of what happened. I don't want to take my emotions out on my wife or kids, but on those days, I find myself shutting down and unable to stop it. How do you deal with these feelings of sadness and loss? I know it's good that I lost what I did because it was dead, and what I have now is life again, but I seem to enjoy hurting myself. I don't know any other way to describe it. I consider myself a very rational person, so I don't understand why I do it or how I can stop. As I said, I have coping problems. We talked through it and worked it out, but then she lost her job about 6 months later. She found comfort elsewhere, and then I found out about that one, which eventually led to finding out about the rest. So technically, it's been about 8 months now. Does it get easier? Whenever I seem to turn the corner and have a few good days, or a whole week, something pulls me back and makes everything seem like a joke. We are going to do counseling after the baby is born and we get our finances under control. The baby was conceived after her affair had ended, so there is no definite paternity right now. The due date we were given at the ultrasound puts conception on my shoulders, but it's not certain. I've been through this before with her and my oldest son. She got pregnant by her ex a few days into us starting to see each other. That caused a lot of the problems that I am dealing with today. He's due in October. She has to have a cesarean, so the date will be planned. They will likely take him out a week or so before her due date to avoid natural birth. I'm very worried about this day. We've already made plans for me to not be present at the delivery. But mentally and emotionally preparing for this is very difficult because I don't know which angle I'm approaching it from. Also, things between us have not been good the last few days. I have been very hostile towards her through texting. It is easier for me to process my feelings and thoughts that way instead of in the heat of the moment. It's difficult for me to talk to her in person because I never get everything I want to say out. I always forget things or say them wrong. Plus, I don't enjoy being mean to her or saying things that will hurt her feelings. But these thoughts are bursting at the seams and need to come out. She texted me today that she loves me, but she doesn't think I will stay with her. She just wants me to get to the same place as her so we can move forward. I told her it's easier for her to do that because she had the fun of the affairs, while I'm left with a broken heart and mind. Not so much fun. My oldest son just turned 7 and is not my biological child. He is my son now, don't mistake that, but not biologically. Some may see it as an affair, while others may not. We had just started seeing each other for not even 3 days by then and hadn't made it official. I think the question of paternity is a big reason why I'm not letting go and moving on, because it would seriously affect our relationship, if not mine. And I don't know if I can heal and move forward. A waste of time would be to not go on a weekend away. It sounds nice and would probably help a lot. There are a lot of variables for us to consider. We have 2 kids and finding a babysitter is difficult, especially since we work opposite shifts. I have every weekend off while she doesn't, but I know these are just excuses. Maybe it's time to put them aside. I've been trying to approach this as a second marriage, as some have suggested, but it's hard not to look at her and remember what has happened. Last night, we watched a movie and cuddled on the love seat, which was very nice. However, as soon as we went to bed, I felt cold and distant again. I'm sure it had to do with my mind being distracted for 2 hours by the movie. These ups and downs are bothersome, and I'm looking forward to them declining. Today's today is our boy's joint birthday party, and I'm excited for that. Through all of this, I feel like my skills as a father have improved significantly, and I am grateful for that. I used to dislike gatherings, but now I look forward to them. If only I could feel the same way about my marriage. The more I think about it, the more I realize that the reason I'm struggling is because the woman I see now is the same one I saw for the past 2 years. She hid things so well that I never knew what was happening. Everything seemed innocent, and I was paranoid and snooping. She would still laugh with me, complain about things with me, and confide in me. We talked about our future and having more kids, and then on the night of her birthday, she dropped a bombshell on me. The same woman who did all those things with me is still here. Nothing has changed in my eyes or senses. How am I supposed to feel or think differently when I see the same woman in front of me and hear her tell me that I'm her everything and she loves me, when it's the same person who ripped my heart out and feasted on it? It's been a month since I last updated, and I'm in the mood to do so now. I also want to share my thoughts and see what others think. Things have been going well. My wife and I talk about our feelings, fears, and just about everything with each other all the time. I feel like I have the original person back, and I've only bettered myself. I'm even enjoying the mundane parts of life again. What I want to discuss publicly is the baby. The delivery date is in about 4 weeks. Should I really care who the father is? It doesn't change anything that has happened. Nothing. It's not like if this baby turns out to be mine, it erases my wife's affairs. Everything will still be the same. I never planned on taking anything out on the child. I have my wife back, and that's all that matters to me. This is something I haven't discussed with her yet. I know that if I tell her, it will ease her biggest fear, which is that I will leave if the baby is not mine. I want to give myself a few days to think about this before acting on it. I have a tendency to make emotional decisions in the heat of the moment. I know that many of you are against the idea of raising another man's child, but it's not something I haven't done before. When I really think about it, the paternity of the baby has no effect on the past, and it doesn't change anything my wife has done. It's simple. If I want to be with her, then I want to be with her. The issue is her infidelity, not the baby. The baby is a product of her infidelity, and that's all. The only potential problem that could arise from this is that the child may not share my skin color. This may lead to questions and comments from others, including my own children. But ultimately, it doesn't change anything for me. I know I shouldn't care what other people think or say, but that's easier said than done. Especially when I know what they're talking about is something I consider my business. We're still going to do counseling, but not until after the baby is born. I think it is still important to do. I know what her problems were before. I resented her for me being a father too early. I didn't know how to be a good boyfriend, and I wasn't ready to be a dad, no matter how much I lied and said I was. That turned into about 5 years of anger, put-downs, and a general hatred of life on my part. She hung on as long as she could, trying to be the positive one, but it was too much. She was being too clingy, and I was being too distant. She was made to be a mom and mom only, and wasn't leaving time for herself. And that started a resentment from her for me. When she hit me with the initial separation news, I snapped out of my funk and have been on the upclimb since. Even when I found out about the affairs and the boyfriend, I was in a better place than I was a few years back. I guess I just don't understand what to do next to make sure we stay on the path and don't let it slip back. Both of us have admitted our faults and acknowledged we were both to blame for where we headed. I don't understand what hoops she needs to go through, I guess. She cut contact with the other man, no news about the pregnancy and how she's doing. I told everyone about the affair shortly after I found out, and I kept it positive about how I wanted to still be her husband. And I wasn't supporting an affair. I didn't know about the steps, but that's what I did on my own. She has been honest with me about everything. I've checked on things and found her to be truthful when they look bad on her. The last time she saw the other man was when he came into her work to ask about the baby. She has since changed jobs. I understand the letter thing, but I don't see how it would help now. I told her straight up, you've forfeited any relationship, friend or otherwise, with these people. If you want us to move forward, this is how it has to be. Am I missing things or looking at this from the wrong angle? I know it's easier to see things I don't from the outside. So today is our anniversary. We're leaving soon for dinner and to do some activities. I'm kind of excited about how things have been progressing lately. My wife and I had a serious talk about things the other evening that was great. She told me she was so sorry about everything, and when I said, I know, she got very serious and said, no, I am very sorry about everything. I want you to really understand that. She then began to tell me that she did so many bad things to me that I never deserved. She said she doesn't know why this ever happened, and she had thought the person who was doing this had been gone forever. She said she married me because I made her want to be a better person, and she thought she was with me by her side. She told me things got way out of control, and she never thought they could get back. She thanked me for staying the course with her, and that if the roles were reversed, she didn't see it working out the same. I just told her that I loved her then and still do now, and that I made a commitment to her. My wife went out by herself with some friends for the first time since we've really buckled down, trying to work this out. It's a friend of hers' 21st birthday, and a small group of them are out celebrating it. I'm really not too bothered by this. She's been doing a lot to regain and keep my trust these last 10 months. I think that her being very pregnant has a lot to do with my comfort level with this. I really don't think I'd be okay with this right now if she wasn't pregnant. I know I'd be really paranoid and going crazy right now, but instead, I've been watching football and the UFC all evening and cooking out with my boys. This pregnancy coming to an end is a relief. Puppy coming to an end is getting me pretty spooked. I'm not sure how my feelings will change when this is over, but I have a strong sense of comfort in our current situation. I know she will have to be more needy to work while she's pregnant and less inclined to move on. I'm also feeling quite tired and my thoughts are all over the place right now. Lately, I've been thinking more and more about her cheating on me, visualizing and imagining things that have happened. Note their sides. Every day as the baby's birth approaches, these thoughts grow stronger and I become more and more. I'm really afraid of how I will react when the day finally comes, probably on Thursday. Days later, the baby is born and my wife is doing okay. So far, the visual test on the baby is inconclusive, but a test will still be done. Today, my wife told me she doesn't believe the baby is mine because his skin is starting to darken. I feel so foolish for letting my guard down about this. I should have waited until everything was settled before getting my hopes up. Despite all of this, we are still going to try, I suppose. I really don't know what I'm doing anymore. This is all very recent and fresh, and my spirit feels deflated. I feel like someone is missing. This baby has the name we had picked out for our child. I feel so low and defeated right now. My wife told me that she talked to the other man last night when we spoke. I didn't take it well, and we got into a heated argument. I told her I wasn't sure if I could handle this. Today she told me that he is planning on stopping by the hospital to see her and the baby. She says she hates him and all that jazz, but I still can't help but feel uneasy about him being around her. It makes me very angry to think about. I really don't know what to do anymore. I love my wife and want to be with her, but this is so difficult. I am so sad right now. I want to crumble and sob, but I can't. It's like something is blocking me from releasing my emotions. It's just so sad. Every time I look at this baby, I don't see myself. It's so obvious that he's not my son. I don't see my wife in him either, just that other man. How can I do this? I see this boy and am constantly reminded of the wrongs that have been done. My wife deserves better, but she wants that to be me. I don't know what to do anymore. This is not what I had prepared myself for. I never could have foreseen feeling this sad. I don't take my anger out on my wife or kids. Like you said, I try to extinguish it. There's no sense in ruining everything if I can get through this, but it just seems so hopeless right now. I feel better about us today after texting her for a few hours this morning, but who really knows what will happen? So, things have been pretty up and down lately. I haven't been coping well with all of this. The first week was very difficult, and we were back to being roommates again. However, I have really enjoyed how this has strengthened my relationship with my two boys. We had a deep discussion the other night, and I am feeling better about things at the moment. I am very bad at repressing my feelings and letting them affect my relationships. But when I do let them out, I feel better for it. My wife is getting ready to leave right now to meet him so he can see his baby. She was going to go to his place to do it, but I said no. Now, she is going to do it somewhere public, like the mall. I was not comfortable with her being at his place, and I'm glad she saw things my way. I'm not going to lie, I fully expected to confront this guy the first time I came in contact with him. I told my wife I was going to, that there was nothing she could do to stop me, and I prepared myself for any legal repercussions. I needed to vent this way because I am so pent up that I feel like my rage and anger are the only ways I can release my emotions. I came to a new realization the other day though. I already won. I could destroy this puny guy at any time I please, but I have the woman he wanted to have. I have his baby to raise how I see fit, and I am going to be getting money from him to do all that. I don't see any kind of revenge on someone who wronged me that is better than that. It's not about getting revenge, but this is a kind of closure for me. I look at the baby differently now than I have been, and I'm glad for that. He didn't do any of this to me. Quick update, my wife meets with this guy for a few hours every Saturday so he can see his kid. It's in a public place per my request. He had a discussion with her about what she will do with the baby when she goes back to work in January. His plan was to pay for daycare while she's at work. Then when he gets off, he picks up the kid, and when she gets off, she takes him back. The idea was given to me by her for approval. I saw it as a practical solution to a problem, but I'm sure it will open many doors to problems. So, I'm back to square one it seems. I got into my wife's Facebook today, and she had been having a conversation with a friend of hers. She told her that I hate her, and she's holding on, because ending an 8-year relationship is hard. She then went on to say that she still wants to be with the baby's dad. I really don't know what to do now. So, we had a conversation for a few hours. She told me she was lying to her friend, but I haven't quite figured out why yet. She told me she's been unhappy with me for a very long time. She also said that she's unhappy with herself, which makes it hard for her to be happy with us. She said it seems like I've hated her for a while now, but that she still loves me and wants this to work because of that. I don't know really what to make of all that was discussed. It all happened quickly and I was very unprepared for it. I'm sure there will be more to come. I really think she is on her way out. She keeps telling me that she is so unhappy with herself and how she was because she cared so little about me to do those things. She sounds very negative about our future together with the way she words texts and speaks now. I realize I am partly to blame for it, getting this way because I've been nothing but a drag down for the last year. I will see this through till the end, but every conversation we seem to have just points towards divorce because I am not interested in separating. I know all that will be is her running off to him, and I'm not waiting around for that. So, the new news is that the other man got parts for my wife's car and had it fixed. She told me about it because she wanted to be honest. She said she didn't want to, but we can't afford to get it fixed and she needs it for the children. I agreed it was best that it got done, but obviously it hurt me that it was done, and we talked about that. The bad thing that happened is my wife put a lock code on her phone again, and then we talked about that, and it came out after a lot of prying that he sent her a message saying he loved her. I wish I could have seen her response to it, but everything was deleted. So now we have the Facebook message that she still wants to be with him, the car situation, and him telling her he loves her. On top of that, she's still unhappy and distrusting because I've changed. What am I doing anymore? I don't doubt that everything is about the kid. I think he's making a play for her just so he can have the baby as much as possible. He's told her on a few occasions that she should just give him the baby and forget about it all. He's just trying to manipulate her. He's a used car salesman. My wife and I have had quite a few long talks lately. Recently, I told my wife that our current situation is not working out and it's time for us to separate. As due to financial constraints, she will be moving out to live on her own in a few months. We've already established schedules for the kids to stay with each of us. I explained to her that our current state is like being stuck in the mud. The tires are spinning, but we're not going anywhere. We both need to find our own self-identity and worth, and this cannot happen with the way things are now. She suggested that we try marriage counseling while living apart to get back on track, but I told her that she can't do that until she forgives herself for what happened. We had a long conversation about her not facing the reality of her actions and the weight it carries for her. She takes most of the blame, but I reminded her that the only blame she has to carry is for stepping out on our marriage. The rest of the issues are equal. So, to summarize, my wife will be moving out and I will be focusing on myself. I am actually looking forward to this change, and I believe it will be beneficial for both of us. 2 months later, she moved out. I tried to post this as it happened, but I was having trouble with the site. I watched as she and her sister packed her things into a truck and moved them to her new place. This was a mutual decision, so it wasn't a surprise. We both agreed that it was best for us individually. We both have our own issues to work on, and we cannot function as a whole until those are resolved. I plan on starting therapy soon to help me through this difficult time. Even though we discussed this, it is still heartbreaking. My wife is gone, and I am now alone with my kids for half of the day. We will continue to keep them on the same schedule as before. Our opposite work shifts make it easier to manage. The biggest issue we face is the presence of the other man, who is still involved in our baby's life and has a history with her family. This is not up for debate. I am sure he will cause problems, but for now, it is something we have to deal with. My wife and him argue constantly, so that is a small consolation. I love my wife deeply, but I've also made mistakes throughout this whole ordeal. My dedication to someone I love cannot be questioned, but I am not naive and I know this will never happen again with her or anyone else. I've enough issues to deal with because of this. So now I am focusing on fixing myself. I have already made some selfish purchases and have plans to go to Chicago for a concert and to see the Cubs play in May. I'm excited to see what I can do on my own. This is the first time I've been on my own, and it is a sad, heart-wrenching experience. It's difficult to stay positive, but I can see glimpses of my old self, and so can my friends, who have been a great support system for me during this time. I guess I am posting this to feel better about losing the only love I have ever known. I don't know, but it is somewhat therapeutic. The other man will not give up his rights as a father because he enjoys the title too much. The problem lies in him actually being a father. In a recent update, I told my wife on Friday that I want a divorce. I have been working 12-hour days from 3 a.m. to 3 a.m. On Thursday night, it was snowing, and I offered for her to stay with me, instead of driving to pick up our kids and then back to her place. She made excuses, so I gave up and said forget it. The next morning, I drove past her place on my way to work, and saw his car there with no lights on. I called her at 3 in the morning, and caught her in her lies, and went off on her. I'm pretty sure there was no bonding involved, but I won't blindly accept that. My kids were in the next room and could have walked in on that. I was so angry that I left work early and went to her place. I sat down and told her that I am going to file for divorce. You obviously can't be trusted with my feelings and heart, and I won't put myself through any more pain for this marriage and this woman. The first chance she got, she treated me and all my efforts as if they were nothing. We talked for 5 hours about everything, and I am going to explore my options for filing. We agree on everything that needs to be done, so we're going to do this without lawyers. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders and chest. It's a strange feeling I have now. My mourning process was a long time ago, and I just feel calm and at peace with this. I didn't expect it. Of course now, she is regretting what happened, and is trying to make amends. But it's too late. I told her that if this ever worked between us, it would be many years from now, and only after she showed me drastic changes in her life and personality. The custody situation isn't a problem. We work opposite shifts, so when one of us has the kids, the other is at work, and vice versa. She has already told me that she won't go after me for child support, as long as I pay off the debt we owe. She really can't take on any more financial burden, and the benefits of getting support from me don't outweigh the financial strain of helping with our debt. Plus, I'll be paying for it, so it's no different than now. For the most part, we agree on everyday things. This is one aspect of her that I trust her not to stray from. It's just about the only part of her I can trust. I fully plan on having a lawyer review everything when we're done. I don't want to get screwed over because of a mistake in filing on my part. Ever since I told my wife I wanted a divorce, she has completely changed. She is back to her old self in terms of attitude and interaction with me. She is starting the process of collecting child support from the other man and cutting him out. Retaliation. An ex-girlfriend of his contacted her and told her the truth about him. This is all very confusing for me. It's what I've wanted for so long, and now that I finally got to the point of saying go away, she wants to make a complete turnaround and make things right. This is making my head and heart spin. I want him to move on with my life, but I also want my life with her back. I am going to talk to my wife tonight about what's going on and how confused I am. I don't understand how she can just switch like this after everything that's happened, and then be surprised that it's putting me back 10 steps. I mean, I said I wanted a divorce. I got to the point where I said, screw it, I'm done. And now she wants it all back. I get everything I wanted and missed. I love you, I miss you, I need to cuddle. Everything I wanted to hear and half of the past 2 years. Yesterday, my wife texted me saying that the other man was demanding the baby and freaking out on her. Then he reminded her that he is licensed to carry a gun now and that she should be scared. She also found out that he has been making plans to take the baby and run away to Florida with the help of his parents. She found out from his ex-girlfriend. She called the police and got a restraining order against him. It's been a crazy day. Since then, she has declared her devotion to me and given me her passwords and phone. She said she will do anything to earn my trust and prove herself to me. She said she wants to grow old with me and now realizes how much I mean to her. The only problem is, I'm not sure if I care anymore. Because I also found out that she has been keeping her options with him open this whole time and telling me it's nothing. Basically, it's been an emotional affair over texting and phone calls. I'm really thinking about serving the papers as the easiest option right now. My comment is, I know most of you will think this is a doormat story, and I agree with that. But it's never too late to leave your relationship or marriage for something better. Jerome's, if Op can do it, anyone can do it, right? I'm for my weekend nap, and I'll see you in the next one.